Hello and welcome to Frank's School, 84th day for the second year. Now I have usingenglish.com up here. That's a website. You might be interested. My spelling that I do for pronunciation has got a debate going on there, which there's a forum there, linguistics, analyzing English and linguistics. And if you are mildly interested, you might want to go and see there. I find myself defending or trying to defend what I do when I spell for pronunciation. But I'm up against powerful linguists, and I shouldn't be against them. But anyway, there's a website, forums, linguistics. All right, now here's the way the story goes on. I have indented because there is a new speaker. This is now the farmer who's speaking to the rooster. And he says, "Why haven't you crowed yet?" asked the farmer. He owned a, John Deere tractor. Now this is very strange, and I want to remind you that I've made up this story to try to show as much about punctuation as I can within a little story. So, oops, I shouldn't have put that there. All right, so let's punctuate this. Why haven't you crowed yet? That's what the farmer says, and those are his words. So this is a direct quotation mark. Quotation. You could make like two little sixes if you wanted to. Why haven't, and here this is a contraction. The O is missing. Why have not you crowed yet? Well, we use an apostrophe to show an omitted letter. Why haven't you crowed yet? This is a question, so we put a question mark. And now this is the narrator, the storyteller. So we close the quotes, and we don't need a comma because the question mark does that for us. Asks the farmer. Well, I guess I'll put a period here. But now, this is bad writing. This has nothing to do with the story. He owned a John Deere tractor. So what? But the punctuation system is so good that it can also deal with bad writing. I'll probably show you more of this in a little bit. This is parenthetic. It doesn't matter. It's just stuck in there. A good storyteller would have left it out. Well, when something is parenthetic, there are marks called parentheses. So he owned a John Deere tractor. Well, so what? But in any case, now whether or not, in this case, I would put the period inside the parentheses, but that's debatable. He owned the John Deere tractor. Now here, what I've tried to represent is inside this parenthetic statement, he said something that was even more parenthetic. Excuse me. It has nothing to do with the story. He had to interrupt himself. Why? Well, because of something that happened. Maybe he hiccuped, or maybe he burped, or maybe worse. That's why I've put what's called an ellipsis. I left it out. Something happened there. And when you've got parentheses, a parenthetic statement inside another parenthetic statement, it's confusing to use parentheses. So what's done is you use brackets. What I've done, what I've done before is went to double parentheses, but I made that up. I'm not sure why I did that. But anyway, the standard is when you are interrupting an interruption, you go to brackets. And if in the middle of this something happened, well then what you would do would you'd go back to parentheses. That's the way that's punctuated. So let's try this. I think it's done. Oh, I could say excuse me. Let's say what happened was dramatic right there. And this ellipsis indicates omitted, something is left out. So let's try this. Why haven't you crowed yet? Asked the farmer. This is a dialect tag. You could say, by the way, if you wanted to. This is bad style. He owned excuse me, John Deere tractor. Now that's stupid writing in many ways, but my point is to try to show you punctuation. I have such a respect for the punctuation system. I've said this before. The spelling system that's used for standard English is complicated. It's got some problems. I love it in a way, but it's flawed, really. But not the punctuation system. In the days of the Romans, Latin, I don't think they punctuated at all, but then that Latin was a different language. All right, now to show you what, that was for audience number 1. Those that speak English, don't want to learn German and or another language, and they just want to learn to punctuate well. All right, now what are the actual sounds that are made? Well, here we go. And I'll probably have much more to say about what I'm doing here. Why? Why? I could have capitalized that. Why haven't? Haven't. Now the apostrophe represents the glottal stop. Haven't. You crowed. Crowed yet. Asked. Now in my dialect, many people would say asked. They would not bother to try to get that K in there. Asked Farmer Brown. Asked. But I'm teaching. I'm in teaching mode, and so I'm being more careful. Ask the farmer. He owned. Now if you go slightly, well actually right in this area, there are many who would say owned. And I would write that down as E-U. I would write that as owned. I don't, it's awkward for me to say that because I don't say it naturally. But perhaps later I'll say more about it. The vowels and the diphthongs of my spelling, well, of any time you try to represent what's actually said, they're hard. He owned a, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, John Deere tractor. We would say in English tractor, I think, not tractor, unlike German. All right, and that is the spelling for pronunciation. All right, I've got one more video today, and that's to show you now what happens with German. See you soon.